The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
When you walk out on that field today, ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? I'm going to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this trying to be the mind and be the football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up the chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from him. He's a man. They can be a hit just like us. He's a man. He can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You ought to make the big money. He's a man. I'm calling like us.
All right. Let me get it. I can't believe my favorite intro is giving me a hard time. But listen, we're gonna rise above that. It is the Lunch Break Sports Talk Show on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is Talk Your Team Tuesday. And if you got a team, you got a favorite player, I don't care if it's college, I don't care if it's pro, I don't care. Today is the day to talk your team. Talk about them good, talk about them bad. Let me tell you, them Clipper fans out there, let me hear from y'all, especially y'all who have been going in on Paul George. We still mad at Paul George or nah? Are we still mad at Paul? Wait, what do they call him? I can't, hold on. I got to look at somebody's text message because there's a little nickname that they call Paul George. And I never remember it. All right, here we go. Let's see. John Ringo, Paul George. We still mad at Paul George or no? When a dude puts up 41, wait. Hold on. I got the wrong line. Here we go. 41, 13, and 6. We mad at him or not? When the dude carries the weight like that, are we mad at him or no? I don't know about you, but I'm cool with Paul George right about now. If I'm a Clippers fan, I'm not. I like Tyronn Lue. I guess I'm all right with Steve Ballmer as an owner. I don't know, much about that. I know he's real hype. Was probably one of them college dudes that was always amped up, But I'm trying to figure out, are we rocking with Paul or we not? Because Clipper fans, where are you? All four of y'all called me. I was in LA forever over the weekend, Sunday and Monday. Couldn't get out of there to save my life. Didn't get back till this morning. And, just listening to the fans in LA, watching the game, y'all a little different. Yeah, it's almost like LA fans, Clipper fans now. Clipper fans don't know quite what fandom is. They like new to it, so they just trying to do the best they can with it. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Hey, Dre, how you feel, man?
With my hands, brah. How you feel?
Everything is beautiful in its own way.
Man, listen to me. Have you ever seen fans who weren't used to being fans, didn't have much to cheer about, and now they got a little something, and they don't quite know how to do it?
They got a term for that. They used to say, act like you done been there before.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. I feel, and I know, and I'm here for all the smoke from Clipper fans. Like, talk to me about the glory years when y'all won like 8 chips in a row, when y'all were undefeated. Talk to me about all the Hall of Famers from Clipper land, because I don't remember them. And then help me understand why y'all don't quite know how to fan right now, because they don't quite know how to do it.
before I get to that, so slow your roll. Welcome back.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad you're back safely,
I'm
brother.
glad
I
to
see
be
where
back.
you were stuck, brother.
Yeah, LA wouldn't let a brother go. It was like, yo, LA, I'm done with you. I need you to be done with me.
Yeah. And as for John Ringo, Paul George, it wasn't a hard day's night last night.
Well, let me just tell you something, man. I just need to know. We still mad at him. We still don't believe. Let me know something.
That cat still be fumbling the ball too much, man.
But greatest, 41, 13, and 6. Yeah. I mean, greatest.
I mean, it's a scripture in the good book. You know, I don't know much about the Bible. It say, dude, he thanked that servant for doing good. No, he don't thank him. He doing what he commanded to do. So Paul George, he doing what he's supposed to do.
Come on, greatest.
Get the ball in the hands of Mr. October, Reggie Jackson.
Greatest.
Go ahead.
Greatest.
Yes, sir.
In Reggie, we do not trust. Reggie and Marcus Morris, they just held it down for the absence of Kawhi Leonard. But Paul, Ringo, John, whatever y'all call him, George,
John Ringo, Paul George.
That dude, hey, man, he put in the work last night, and he got that thing done. And that man said, pay me.
Whatever.
He was the board man last night. Hold on. You got to wait right there, Greatest. I got to do two quick commercials. I'm coming right back to you. Greatest giving me some stuff. Look, I ain't get much sleep last night. My plane landed at 9:00. I had to get up and talk sports on a couple of other stations. And now I'm getting the business from the Greatest. That don't matter. I got it. We'll be right back right after this Talk Your Team Tuesday.
You paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110. Guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify.
800-298-0139. 800-298-0139. 800-298-0139. That's 800-298-0139.
Hello, this is Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President of Communication Workers of America, District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hour.
Hello, this is Trey Daniels from the Daniels Group. Yes, Claude, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, week, and month. Interviews will be with pastors, community leaders, elected officials, and political operatives. You know, Claude, a part of our responsibility is informing the citizenry and give them power to the people.
That's right, Trey. We're asking that you listen in on 1140 AM, 92.3, or streaming on KYOKradio.org, Thursdays at 10 a.m.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legend continues.
This is Irma J from Internal Revamp, and you're listening to AJ on the lunch break.
Man, listen, last night I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned. Candlesticks in the dark. Didn't look like my flight would return. My mind was playing tricks on me, and it's playing tricks on me right now with the Greatest. Greatest, do me a favor. Say Paul George put in that work last night. Say it. Say it out loud.
John Ringo, Paul George.
Oh, Lord.
It wasn't a hard days last night.
Oh,
somebody still want to hold his hand.
Oh, Lord.
Let me another great Beatle hit.
Oh, Lord. You know what? I don't know. Okay, so ladies can do this. Men, we don't have it down yet. I'm going gender specific on this one. Ladies can look at a sister that got on some nice shoes or some fly hair, or she rocking an outfit that's just out of this world. And a sister will look at her and say, girl, you rocking that hair. I'm telling you, man, I was in Vegas and a lady yelled all the way across the street, girl, you rocking them heels. And I was like, I'm looking now to see whose heels she talking about. And sure enough, sister had on some nice heels. Men don't do that, bro. So it's hard for us sometimes to look at Paul George and say that brother did that right there. But I'm here to break the mold, bro. I'm here to break the mold. I'm gonna help you. Say it with me. Paul George got off last night. Say it. It'll make you feel better. Go ahead.
John Ringo, Paul George got off last night.
Y'all pray for greatest. Pray for great. He is step one of the 12-step program. Step one.
Not. Let me get this straight, Dre. You say you want to fight because you didn't get no sleep last night.
Yeah, man. I'm here for it all. I'm here for it all when y'all talk about my brother Paul.
I heard that, brother. Hey, man, but on the real, man, I give the brother a little credit, man. He did do it last night, but what are you gonna do tomorrow night? That's the problem. I need to know you're gonna be consistent with it. You understand?
Greatest.
Sir?
I'm going to the men again.
Yes, sir.
You cannot look at the love of your life and say, "Oh, baby, you sure made me a happy man today. Now, what you gonna do for me tomorrow?" You can't do that, greatest. You'll never get another day like that day. Just go ahead and relish in the moment and realize that the Clippers, not Paul George, the Clippers have got to do it again. Paul George last night did what he had to do in, let me say it slow, an elimination game. A game where if you don't win, it's no tomorrow. But now he did it, and guess what? The Clippers have to do it again.
Okay, but you keep talking about John Ringo, Paul George. What about Reggie Jackson? What about the big guy? He had 15 points right quick, and Boogie Cousins.
Let me go to my box score. So
he had 15 points in 11 minutes, man. Then the man took it. Yes, ma'am. Ty Lue took him out the game. Hold
on, greatest. As I look at the stat line, I don't know why this big number 41 stands out. 13 most rebounds on the team stands out. 6 assists, most assists on the team stands out. And this is the one that gets me. 15 for 20 from the field. The dude only missed 5 shots last night. But hold on, let's talk about Reggie Jackson. 23 points.
Missed October.
5 rebounds. He did have 3 assists. He was 8 for 14 from the field, nowhere near Paul George. And he was 4 for 7 from 3. So, all right, okay, let's give him some love. Little love for Reggie Jackson.
What about Boogie?
Let me go down to his stat line. 15 points.
Yeah.
2 rebounds.
How many minutes?
He did share the assist. In 11 minutes, dude had 15 points, was 7 for 12. 7 for 12. I'll give that, Him and Paul George missed the same number of shots, and he was 0 for 2 from 3. All right, so let's love on them so greatest can feel better. You feel good?
I feel good like a cigarette chew. That's Winston. Hey man, let me move on real quick because I know Donna Holman and Ferdinand getting mad because they say I'm ball hogging. Be cool, Todd. I'm almost through. Hey man. Hey man, Gwen Berry, the hammer thrower.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm not off topic.
No, because I'm getting to that today.
When I was a young boy, it was this mini series came on for a week back in 1977. I think me and you was about the same age. It was called Roots.
Mm-hmm.
And on one of the episodes of Roots, one of the slave owners seen one of the slaves reading, and he got really upset with her, and I couldn't understand why did he get so mad at Melba Moore for learning how to read. and I found out later on in life that because once they learn how to read and educate themselves, it's strength. They're gonna gain strength in numbers.
Right.
So my thing is with Gwen Berry, she know about the national anthem. People that look like me and you have evolved. We know the meaning of that national anthem. And I'm not mad at her for turning her back on the flag. What say you?
So there's a lot to it that nobody really wants to get to. She has been a activist, in social justice for a long time. She didn't just jump on board week 4 laughs. She didn't just start doing. So those who think she's trying to have her Colin Kaepernick moment so she can get paid by Nike, please be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about. And other than your base, you sound dumb. I'm coming for it today. I've been waiting on this one. Thank you for opening the door. So apparently the Olympic Committee or the U.S. qualifying committee put out a schedule on when they were going to play the anthem. And the ladies they don't necessarily just play it because somebody is on the podium like most people who are ignorant to the way those things work think. So for whatever reason, they played it 5 minutes later. There would not have been an issue if the committee had met their schedule that they put out. They didn't have to say we're going to play it then and play it another time. They could have just met their schedule and this would not have been a problem because she wouldn't have turned her back to the flag. And people again want to look at that issue like it's the worst thing in the world. Pause for a second.
Yes, sir.
Somebody in your sphere of influence, I'm not talking about you, somebody in your sphere of influence, Mr. Sir or Mr. Ma'am, that is outraged because this young black woman from America wants her country to be better. And because she loves her country, she is allowed to criticize it for the bad parts that need to be better. And just because you play your favorite song or just because you wave your favorite freak flag does not mean that other people have to rock with it. This dumb stuff of you're un-American and if you don't like it, leave. And how can you criticize a country that gave you the opportunity to play athletics? It's because people love the country. It's because people know the United States can be better, that we have a right to criticize it. And we got a right to call folks out like you who had no problem running down to the Capitol and beating police officers over the head with that same flag. So you don't understand what patriotism is. You don't understand what loving your country actually means because to my knowledge, she ain't never done that.
Right. And last time I checked, number 45 said he loved grabbing women by their privates.
Well,
But those the same people that want to criticize Gwen Berry. I stand with her. I stand with Miss Osaka. Now, let me move on. Like JJ said, when is the next commercial break?
You got time.
Okay. Hey, man, I don't know if the cat hardly jiving or what, man, but is Scottie Pippen lonely? Not. I'm sure you heard the latest of Scottie Pippen. 30 years later, he claiming that Phil Jackson was a racist. Why is he waiting now to bring that out?
Well, I'll say this. If Phil Jackson wrote something that was racist and Scotty or other people didn't reveal it until now, while I wished they would have done it sooner, I wish they would have done it in time. Maybe they feel for whatever reason that the time is better now to reveal something like that against a coach who has literally been impeccable. And I'm not saying impeccable that's how he's been. Folks just don't go for Phil Jackson like they should. I give him credit for being able to coach a team with all those, top flight personalities and ego. Yeah, it's not easy to do. A lot of folks think you just roll the ball out there with a team like that. We've seen that doesn't work, Brad Stevens. We see that doesn't just work, as others have been unable to do it. But what I will say is that Phil Jackson, him, and other guys get credited for
Pat Riley. Yeah,
they get credited for stuff that they're not the greatest of all time in every area of their lives. Great coach, great, leave it at that. But just because Phil Jackson was Mr. Zen Master doesn't mean that he couldn't have had a racist side. Doesn't mean that he couldn't have had a bad moment where he said something or did something that he wished he had taken back. So I'm just saying we want to vilify Chauncey Billups. We want to vilify Jason Kidd. Of course, we're going to vilify Michael Vick and Ray Rice and all of that. But let it be somebody like, Coach Jackson. Let it be someone like Coach K.
Rick Pitino.
I'm trying to get the untouchables of the untouchables. Rick Pitino, they threw him over to the other side. At one point, Rick Pitino got so freaky they couldn't even defend him. But people glorify Marv Albert like he didn't sexually assault a woman and bite her in the back and do all kinds of freakiness to her. And they love this dude like he's, the god of sports broadcasting. I will never forget with God, I lost his name. But the dude from U of H that everybody loved, him and Tony Romo are on the broadcast together. He had the nerve to come for Tiger Woods over his adultery and his his relational issues and his marriage. But did he forget that he was the one that left his wife for an intern in the network when he worked for a different network? And it's just like we forget those people's stuff, but we cannot forget Chauncey Billups. We cannot forget Jason Kidd. We cannot forget Ray Rice. We cannot forget we can't forget other guys. And I'm just like, I'm not going to play those games with you. And I love my brothers and sisters in the media. I love them. I do. I love their work and what have you. But sometimes we're not the best judges of moral character because we pick and choose when we want to. Jim Nance, that's the name. Thank you. Somebody text me real quick. Jim Nance. We want to pick and choose how we don't. Oh yeah, but that was so many years ago. It was so many years ago for these other people too. If Scottie Pippen remembered a situation where Phil Jackson had a racist comment or a racist plan or racist stuff, it's fair game. Dig into it the exact same way you want us to dig into Chauncey Billups. Dig into it the exact same way you want us to dig into Jason Kidd. Dig into it the exact same way. Phil Jackson is not untouchable. Phil Jackson stole money from the New York Knicks, sitting up there in Idaho or Utah or wherever the heck his South Dakota, wherever the heck his ranch was, while he was claiming he was working as the vice president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks. Dude had checked out, but he hadn't stopped taking checks. So don't miss me on Phil Jackson being perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something. The only difference between Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups is that they public figures, but the people that's talking about them, they behind closed doors doing they dirt. But I want to leave you with Jason and Chauncey now. You got people upset with them landing jobs because of mistakes they made in the past. And they want to hold that against them on getting the gig. Just like a lot of people still hold Michael Vick prisoner for fighting some dadgum dogs. Now, I know you got to go, but as I leave, can you talk about that? I'm going to hang up and listen. And tonight, after you count them sheep, be sure you get some sleep. Rumble, young man, rumble.
Appreciate you, greatest. Good call as always. Let me just say this right off the bat. I don't condone domestic violence at all, whether it be mental, verbal, spiritual, financial. There are people that will literally hold a person. And I'm saying a person because it's not just women. It's not just women. Men are in abusive situations as well. And many of them feel like they're in no-win situations because more times than not, the man won't be believed because, oh, well, look at her. How can she be abusing you? She's only 100 pounds. But there are people that will threaten not to, release money. There are people that will threaten, not to release their affections. There are people that will threaten to lie. If you tell them this, I'll tell them you hit me. I don't condone that for anybody. Anyone, under any circumstances whatsoever. I don't condone sexual assault. No, flat out means no. under every circumstance. It's not, no, you told me no, but your eyes were saying no. What did my mouth say? What does stop mean? That's what it means. Before, during, and after. No means no. Stop means stop. For anyone. And I also don't condone racism at any time. A lot of times, man, if it's somebody that you don't like, whenever it comes up, if it was 29 years ago, to some, it's still valid. They're still accountable for it. And it blows my mind that people who swear that they are anti-cancel culture are the main ones trying to get people canceled for stuff that they've done in their past. But it's not fair. It's not equitable. It doesn't go across the board. There is no outcry against Phil Jackson right now. Oh, Scotty this, Scotty that. Scotty needs a hug. Scotty's got CTE. What if Scotty's right? Never forget Jose Canseco. Everybody swore that man had no credibility. That man had no this, no that, no the other. And he was the one dude that proved to be telling the truth. He was the one dude that proved to be right. I love my colleagues. I love people in this industry on levels that I will never get to. But it does not make them a great judge of someone else's moral character or the development of their character from a bad place to a better one. And to say that someone does not deserve a job because of something that they did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, be careful. One day you might find yourself in a position. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Willie Gibson.
Hey, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I've been gone, so I got to get all this out. What's up?
I see. I'm calling for Scotty. I listen, and I'm sorry. I'm not. What he said Phil Jackson was a racist for is the issue. He never said that. He said, well, it was a racist act that he called to play for Tony Kukoc and not me, after all I've done for the organization. Now, we've known Scotty had issue with the play and subsequent backlash he took for sitting out the play. But now it's a racist act. That, to me, is what for me is the issue. Like, why was it not a racial act that night? Why was it not a racial act anytime between 1994 and 2021? But now, and oh, by the way, Scotty's selling a book in Bourbon. And then last week he came for KD and put his name out there. And that didn't take flight, perhaps as one would think. So now it's, yeah.
So Willie, I get it. And let me say this out loud. I don't disagree with you. But let me say this. In America, which everybody wants us standing for the doggone flag and dancing to the national anthem and all this kind of stuff and patriotism beyond all, no matter what anybody else does, says, thinks, whatever, we're supposed to be patriotic to this country. But we lose sight of the one thing. If Scottie Pippen felt like that was a racially motivated play or the scheme or a plan, if he felt like that to him in this country, I think I'm to understand that he's entitled to that. And the fact that we have to dissect it and break it down and show him and everybody else around him why it was not because it didn't happen to us, it just defeats the whole purpose of, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for us all. Free thinkers, the ability to think and to share and to experience and to know. If everybody's got to have the same understanding and the same experience, and even if you had a negative one, we got to force you to believe it was a positive one. What's the difference between us and North Korea?
No, I understand what you're saying. I guess for me, it's the scenario of, we've all known Scotty had issue with that. I mean, clearly he set the play out. But it was not an issue, a racial issue. Phil called me the N-word. Phil called me this, or Phil let the white players do this and the black players didn't do that.
And I get you, but here's what we don't know. Willie, we don't know everything that happened at practice. We don't know all the things that were said and what have you. So if for whatever reason, Scotty, who was in every one of those situations, we were not, Scotty surmised it at that moment. This is more that racial bull with Phil. You know, I knew this has been coming. I knew that he'd been trying to promote Tony over me. Again, we don't have to agree with it. We can't verify unless we get comments from other people around. That's how Scotty felt. Even if that's not the case, Scotty is allowed to say it. And then here we go. But we're allowed to criticize. Okay, we can criticize it. It don't make it true or not true.
Understood. It just seems, he by all means, he's absolutely able and well within his right to say it. Just the time, 27 years later, and just that instance, and that's the thing. And again, combined with the promotional tour that he's on, it's clicked. I don't know, far be it from me, but it just seems very, very interesting.
Again, I don't disagree with you. I don't at all disagree with you. Everybody has their own timing. If Scotty felt like, man, they ain't gonna believe me, and just sat on it, and then now he sees and feels like now is a better time to share those kind of comments without as much backlash as he would have gotten back then. Maybe he thought that would have affect his career. He didn't think he was going to be a Bulls player forever. So now I can't go to other places because I've talked about the untouchable coach in the league right now, Phil Jackson. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why he couldn't or chose not to say it back then, but feels more comfortable in saying it now.
And in that same interview, he came at Mike again, as far as faking for the cameras, telling Steve Kerr, I'm going to pass you the ball because the cameras were rolling, because the cameras were controlled by Michael Jordan.
Yeah, well, that is not new. So I'm far less concerned about that than I am about, his ability to emote what he felt during that time, whether he thought it was racist or not. It don't matter if I didn't think it was or anybody else didn't think it was. That's how Scotty felt. Now, again, if it's something that has to be proven out, then so be it. But man's allowed to feel how he felt.
Fair enough.
And he ain't the first that have said egregious things to sell their doggone books. So,
That's it, that part.
Yeah, he ain't the first. He ain't the first. And you know what? Sometimes these publishing houses encourage it. These publicists encourage it. Some people truly believe, bad press is as good as good press.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, going back to this other issue with the flag and all that, bro. Dan Crenshaw, congressman from the great state of Texas, he's one of them dudes that needs to sit this one out, man. He's the last person that needs to be talking about this young lady being removed from the team. You're not trying to remove folks off of Congress that were in support of an insurrection against the United States of America's government. The peaceful transfer of power. How dare you go after this young lady who just flat out did what this country allows her to do? Dan Crenshaw is one of them dudes that if it had not been for the grace of the way your party cheated and redrew districts, gerrymandering, he would even be a name that we know. And the fact that he can know that and go to sleep every night and feel like he is entitled and feel like he's really doing something, that's a bigger problem to me. That's a bigger problem to me. I thank God he served this country. I thank God that he is serving the country in public service. But let's not take that beyond. You wouldn't even be there if it were not from deeds and acts that I wish the government or some legal body would take a good look at, because that stuff is crazy, man. Dude's a joke. Bottom line, dude's a joke.
So does Dan Crenshaw have the authority under the USOC to remove her from the team?
Nope.
So that's my point. I mean, people are going to say what they're going to say. Me, I'm of the ilk. I mean, he said it. Okay, I'm not going to waste my time continuing to say that he said it. And this is not coming at you. I'm just saying, for me, people say stuff all the time. It's like, okay, moving on. Who's next? So, I mean, that's the way he felt. I feel a way he feels a way. So, I just, for me, I'm not a big person of, well, he said it. I believe he said it. I said something else.
Yeah, well, and I get it. Just like we got folks making it their business to come for Scottie Pippen, I'm making it my business to come for Dan Crenshaw and all that think like him.
Yeah.
All that think like him. And having sat in that airport from no o'clock to no o'clock, I got time today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yes, I mean it's going to be interesting to see, and well, we'll see. Like I said, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and the sad part about it is this young lady is not going to get the support for her ability that she should get, because some folks think everything revolves around the patriotism. Well, AJ, it's the Olympics. I mean, what other place should you have more patriotism than the Olympics? You don't take off who you are just because you make an Olympic team. I mean, some of the greatest protests in history happened during the Olympics, not just from the United States, but all around the world. Other athletes have made political, I won't call them political, social justice statements during the Olympics. Right. You're on a worldwide stage. And I'm sick and tired of hearing, oh, well, if I did that on the clock, I'd get fired. That's your job, bro. That's your job. That ain't this.
Right. And for me, I just, to give platform to that. And again, you're my guy. I'm not coming for you.
Oh no, bro. But see, that's the thing. And I told this to David on Friday. The good thing about this show is you can come for me. We do it respectfully. I mean, we can walk away where you still on your point, I'm still on mine, but we still brothers. And that's the same thing with our callers, our viewers. If they're respectful, I'll be respectful, even if we don't ever reach an agreement on the point we're discussing. That's the difference between this show. I'm not cutting folks off for that. Stay right there, Willie, for 1 second.
Blood pressure or diabetes? Are you over the age of 65 and covered by Medicare? Then pay close attention to this message. Medicare has introduced some new benefits to help consumers during these cautious COVID-19 times. They realize many of you don't want to leave your home to visit a doctor. So now you can get a remote patient monitoring device shipped to your home at little or no cost to you. Now your doctor can identify your problems in real time, which could potentially save your life. Victory Medical can easily ship this monitoring device directly to your home at little or no cost to you. If you have high blood pressure or diabetes and you're covered by Medicare, make this free call right now to see if you qualify for a new remote patient monitoring device. Call now.
800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. That's 800-213-9527. If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. We know this is a hard time for you, and this fund has been set up by the federal government to help ease your pain. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. All legal fees are only covered once you receive your money. So if you've lost a loved one due to COVID-19, call the legal helpline right now to find out if you qualify for a cash award. Here's our number, 800-876-7047, 800-876-7047, 800-876-7047. That's 800-876-7047. Paid for by the IPG Law Group.
1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legendary KYOK.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Jonathan McReynolds, and I'm glad that you made room for the legendary KYOK, The Lunch Break.
All right, appreciate you, Jonathan McReynolds. All right, back on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM. It's our Talk Your Team Tuesday. Todd Malcolm, you came for Marv Albert? Yeah, without hesitation, bro. Without hesitation. Longhorn Key said, love me some the greatest. Absolutely, man. We love him too. Let me get back to the phone line. Willie Gibson, broadcast journalist from Columbus, Ohio, covers the Ohio State Buckeyes, Big Ten, as well as Cleveland Browns, and he's extremely knowledgeable on literally every other sport. Willie, thank you for holding over for a second. What I wanted to do, though, real quick, was get to the contract negotiations with Baker Mayfield. Last report I saw is he ain't getting the love he thought contractually. Is that real, or is that somebody getting a few clicks?
It's clickbait. He's waiting his turn. He has 2 years left on his deal, and Nick Chubb. There are more pressing issues. Nick Chubb is a more pressing issue than last year of his rookie deal. So he has to get done this year. Baker, Denzel Ward, they have time. So, and Baker's aware that his agent tried to say something last week that was contrary, but he knows. Andrew Berry, there's a pecking order, and yes, Baker's the quarterback, but he has time left on his deal, whereas Nick Chubb doesn't.
Yeah, again, Willie Gibson joining us here on the lunch break from Columbus, Ohio. I said a couple years ago that if the Dallas Cowboys had gotten all those deals done heading into that season, Dallas was going to just roll through it because they didn't have the distractions. The players were going to be playing happy. They got their money right. As Marshawn said, they chicken was right. All they needed to do was work on their mentals, and they didn't get them done. They didn't get them all done. And I got to give credit to Dak because Dak still played like he was under, a good deal and what have you. The Amari Cooper thing, it took a minute. It finally got done. But I feel like Cleveland is one of those teams where if they can take care of their business sooner than later, man, they could really take that next step beyond what they did last year. And that's the conference title. That's the AFC championship game. And ultimately, man, be on their way to a chip because that life cycle of that team, that window of opportunity is not indefinite. And they got to get those deals done so that they can have that time when these guys are in their prime to get the deal, to get the chip.
And they will. And that was one of the reasons, it was kind of unpopular, but they cut Sheldon Richardson. I mean, Sheldon Richardson, defensive tackle, did everything right, but he had an $11 million cap hit.
Yeah.
And so Andrew Berry, his foresight saw, look, I got Baker, I got Denzel, I got Nick. I drafted 2 defensive tackles who are, he drafted a defensive tackle, Tommy Togiai from Ohio State in the 4th round. And then he gave the highest signing bonus to an undrafted free agent. It was a $165,000 signing bonus to defensive tackle Marvin Wilson from Florida State. So he solidified his defensive line, knowing I had to let Sheldon go for that cap money, that now he's going to reallocate to Nick Chubb, Baker, Denzel, whomever. And Andrew Berry is a new sheriff in town.
Yeah.
Cleveland has been the butt of jokes for years. And justifiably so. They've had some interesting people running the show in Cleveland. Yeah. And now Andrew Berry is pretty much, and he's so even-tempered. He's just a good dude. He really is. You see him very unassuming. When he was VP of player personnel, I had a chance to share some time with him several times. And he's just, look, man, we got to get it done. And he has that same even-tempered, mild-mannered approach in the head chair as the GM. And he's going to get it done. It's just, again, because Cleveland has been the butt of jokes and has been so inept for so many years, it's kind of a side eye, like, are they going to do it? Yeah. Is this really going to happen?
Yeah.
And I can say yes. With him at the helm, I believe it will.
Yeah. Willie Gibson joining us from Columbus, Ohio, broadcast journalist. Willie, I feel like this is the year that Cleveland wants to get this done and take that next step because there's question marks in Pittsburgh. Obviously, there's question marks in Baltimore, and those are the cream of the crop for the AFC North. I ain't talking about Cincinnati yet. No, yeah, by the way, if Zach Taylor don't get it done and do better record-wise, and I'm going to say it, with or without Joe Burrow, he's got to go, man. He's got to go because, again, folks got all bent out of shape because Marvin Lewis couldn't win a playoff game. Well, you ain't got to worry about your coach not winning playoff games when you don't get to the playoffs, as, Cincinnati hadn't been relevant in that since Marvin Lewis left. But this is the year for Cleveland to take that next step because there are major questions in the two powerhouses for the division. They can't let the off-field stuff affect what they do on the field.
Oh, no, without question. And the organization that they're building, the team that they have around them, I don't think they'll allow that off-field stuff to affect the team. I mean, Stefanski's pretty much like, look, come in here, handle your business. And they receive it. Coaches say that all the time. Like, look, what's on the outside is on the outside, kill the noise. We're in the building, we're in the circle, what have you. They really believe Kevin Stefanski. I mean, he has, the magnetic personality, if you will, amongst that team. I mean, from Odell, from Jarvis, from Baker, from Myles Garrett, all the way down the line.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a scenario where, and for the most part, in NFL locker rooms, this, AJ, handle your business. I'm not going to count your money. I'm not going to worry about this man's check. He's going to have, when it's time to play, he'll be here. Let him handle his business and get it done.
Yeah. But let me jump in on that real quick. So I'm not bringing it up from a negative perspective. I'm bringing it up to kind of support what you're saying. We saw under a different head coach, Freddie Kitchens, that Baker broke those unwritten rules about being in other people's pockets and in their money and what have you. And everybody tried to defend that, but it was wrong all day long. Wrong is wrong. And now it's a whole different atmosphere. Now you don't hear Baker talking about other people's money and how it affects his money. That's the more of the Kevin Stefanski effect as opposed to what we saw under Freddie Kitchens.
To that specific point, I just brought him up. That was Sheldon Richardson. That was the veteran defensive tackle that pulled Baker aside. Like, look, bro, we don't do that.
Got it.
We don't do that here.
Got it.
And Baker received it.
Got it.
Baker took, and at that time, Baker had just set the rookie or tied the rookie record for 27 touchdown passes in the season.
Uh-huh.
And there was nobody else there. John Dorsey, the previous GM, gave him carte blanche.
Yeah.
Baker had the keys to the kingdom, if you will. He ran that building over on Lou Groza Boulevard in Cleveland, in Berea, if you will.
Yeah.
But he ran that building, and that's what I don't fault Baker. He had no filter. He had no leadership. He had nobody to check him.
Yeah.
So he did what young people do.
Yeah.
He did whatever he thought he could get away with until somebody checked him.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And again, this is where I felt one way about it, back when it happened. I feel a little differently about it now that it happens. And I'm glad Richardson was able to get to him. I'm glad Stefanski is being the adult in the room as opposed to Freddie Kitchen, down on the mat playing with the kids and acting like and sounding like the kids. I'm glad to see the difference in the building than what we saw before, because that's one of the reasons why I think that if Cleveland can hold it together, as much as I love Pittsburgh, as much as I respect what they're doing in Baltimore, Cleveland could be the team to come out of that division on top. And when I look at coaching rankings in that division, I put Mike Tomlin on top because of what Mike Tomlin has done. But Stefanski is definitely, the up and coming coach in that division. To me, he's got more upside than where Harbaugh is and where Tomlin is. And that's hard for me to say because of my respect for Mike Tomlin. Zach Taylor, whole different deal. Stay right there. Let me get Sybil Wilkes on real quick. If you got another minute, Willie.
Please. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Let me get Sybil Wilkes on real quick. What you need to know today.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Nearly 3 years before an oceanfront building collapsed near Miami, an engineering firm estimated that major repairs the building needed would cost more than $9 million. The email from the firm was among a series of documents released by the city of Surfside as rescue efforts continue at the site of the collapsed building. More than 150 people remain unaccounted for and at least 10 people killed in the collapse. Health officials say the Delta COVID variant, believed to be more transmissible and dangerous than other strains, is likely to break out in some U.S. communities. Those communities will be the ones with low vaccination rates and low rates of prior infection. 46.1% of the total U.S. population has been vaccinated against COVID-19. Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Wyoming are among the states with the lowest vaccination rates. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SibylWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
What's up, everybody? This is Jonathan Nelson, and you're listening to The Lunch Break with AJ.
Appreciate you, Jonathan Nelson, right here on The Lunch Break on the legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM, streaming live, KYOKradio.org. Also on Facebook, on the Lunch Break Facebook page, KYOK Radio Facebook page, and on YouTube on Lunch Break with AJ. And then for all my good folks over on Twitter, love y'all. Appreciate the love y'all been giving me. That's at Lunch Break KYOK. Let me go back to Willie Gibson. Appreciate the time that you're giving us, man. Like I said, a lot of good things happening in Cleveland with that team. But then on the other side of the street with the basketball team, I don't feel like enough good stuff is happening. Are they on their way, or are they, 2, 3, 4 years away?
I still alone in my four-corner room. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. You got me messed up. All right. No, you didn't get that, did you? Okay.
You know what? Let me try to line this up. So one of the reasons why I constantly have people on from Cleveland is because, believe it or not, the Texans and Cleveland Browns were very similar in their ascension, even with their quarterback situation. And the Rockets right now are closer to what the Cavaliers are than what the, LA Lakers or Milwaukee Bucks or doggone it, even the Atlanta Hawks are right now. So as I hear how y'all are rebuilding in Cleveland, it kind of gives some insight to what folks are not used to happening down here in Houston. So tell me again what Cleveland is doing.
I said that in jest because of the music that brought us back, but as I think about it, that's a pretty accurate statement when it comes to what Cleveland is doing. Kobe Altman's probably pretty much sitting in a four-quarter room staring at right now because they knew he has, first and foremost, he has the full support of Dan Gilbert, Cleveland Cavaliers governor, owner, chairman, what have you. He has the full support to run this organization as he has, and they knew.
Well, Willie, wait, hold on one second, Willie, hold on.
1140 AM, KYOK Conroe, and 92.3 FM, K222CX Houston.
This is Lakeisha, and you're listening to The Lunch Break.
Opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers, who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
All right, y'all, back here on the show, Lunch Break. It's Talk Your Team Tuesday. Willie Gibson talking about the teams up in Cleveland, because there is definitely some parallel to how they've been rebuilding and how the Rockets need to get used to the rebuilding that hasn't happened here in decades. So go ahead, Willie, finish that thought you had.
Yeah, they are in the midst of that rebuild, year 3. That's going into year 4 now after the LeBron run, and they knew they had a 4 to 5 year plan, but with year 4 coming, they had a plan to rebuild, but then they kind of backtracked when they re-signed Kevin Love to the 4-year extension, $120 million. So now they kind of thought, well, we have enough. We can, maybe get into that 7th, 8th seed, and then the play-in tournament came out. Oh, we can get 9, 10, and be able to do something, and it hasn't worked. And so now they've drafted. This will be their 4th time in the last 4 years drafted in the top 8 with the number 3 pick here and next month's draft. So now they're looking at, okay, the rebuild's not going as we thought. Maybe we need to modify it. Do we trade the pick? Do we, put this pick in package with Kevin Love to try to get his $60 million off of the cap? Colin Sexton, they love. He's a great kid, does the right thing, phenomenal scorer, healthy. He's missed 12 games in 3 years, but all of them last year with an ankle, but the issue is they can't max him out. He's going to ask, as well he should, for a max extension. He's extension eligible now. And they don't see a future where they can max him out and maintain that flexibility they need to continue to rebuild. So discussions are being had. Do they trade Colin Sexton? And do they draft a Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs? But again, you can't keep drafting guards. You had a guard that you moved up in the draft to take Kevin Porter Jr. and he had some off-the-court issues, which you knew the potential was there for him to have when you drafted him. You drafted him at number 30, knowing he was a top 10 talent, and then you gave him away, and you're welcome, AJ and the Houston Rockets. But
yeah, we're grateful. We're very grateful. Thank you.
I'm sure. But so now they're at a crossroads. They really are at the point where, they have this young talent. What are they going to do with it? Are they going to continue down the path of young talent, or are they going to package some of it, perhaps get a young, an older, younger, if that makes sense, proven, established player? Because they're pretty much spinning their wheels now, literally. And really, the All-Star game is in Cleveland this year. So they thought by bringing Kevin Love out, they would somehow build a competitive team that they can compete and at least be on the national stage that, hey, Cleveland is an all-star city, but we have a team that's competitive. It hasn't worked. J.B. Bickerstaff, as the coach, he's done all he can do. It's not him. He and his staff are doing what they were brought to do. It's just this team is bereft of talent.
Yeah.
And they need to get talent in here quickly.
Yeah. Willie Gibson, broadcast journalist, Columbus, Ohio, joining us here on the show. I hear you. You make a lot of good points. It would be kind of interesting to see them move Sexton, before he gets that max contract. And like you said, he has a right to ask for it. There's a lot of people out there that would take a guy like Sexton and, try and get him to blend in with what they're trying to do. So any ideas on some possible landing spots for a guy like Sexton?
Wow. And that's the thing, because if he stays here, they want to bring him off the bench as a sixth man. And you can't allow him to be a starter for 3 years and then draft a rookie and bring him off the bench. Oh, and by the way, pay him max money.
Right. Yeah.
Where he goes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that don't make sense at all.
Right. So where he goes, you look at a team, and I know Chris Gardner may love this, but you look at Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit, similar situation, young, but bring him off the bench. You can't start him in Cleveland for 3 years and then bring him off the bench.
Right.
However, if you trade him somewhere else and fulfill that six-man role, perhaps it happens there. Maybe at Memphis. I don't know. Coming off the bench. I mean, I'm not looking at him to start any of these places. I'm just looking at him to be a piece where he can go. Honestly, I don't know anywhere, truthfully, that he can go and get max money coming off of the bench.
Right. Yeah.
And therein lies the dilemma that Cleveland finds itself in. They can't max him out, but then they have to trade him. Is the team that's trading for him, are they going to be prepared to max him out?
Right.
It's again, Kobe Altman sitting in the four-corner room.
Staring at candles.
That's where he is right now.
Yeah. Willie, I appreciate you making the time for us, brother. Do me a favor, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you and the Will Knows podcast.
Appreciate it. Will Gibson 7 on social media. Facebook is, as you said, the Will Knows podcast. Also, three people talking sports. Friday, 7 p.m. Central this week. Myself, Chris Gardner, the Houston Roundball Review, and the young fella, Andy Yanez. So check us out as your schedule permits. That'll be some good time talking playoffs. Chris Gardner was hot.
Yeah, he was.
This week.
Yeah, he was. But look, I told you I got time for it today. Tell Chris Gardner I said stop saying Becky Hammond is a candidate to come on the show He keeps saying that he gonna have some women on the show. Tell him go ahead and do it. Tell him that phone works. Tell him that phone works.
I got it. Yes,
all right, brother.
sir.
We'll talk to you soon, Will.
I appreciate you.
Will Gibson, Will Knows Podcast. Good brother. Let me go back to the phone line. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Brother AJ, welcome back, Ferdinand.
Thank you, Ferdinand. I apologize for keeping you holding. I had to get, all those thoughts out of Willie's mind because that brother, he knows sports.
Oh, absolutely. I don't have a problem waiting, man. Sometimes waiting is of the virtue.
Yes, sir.
You got to learn patience.
Yes,
and
sir.
that's what we have to do. Look, AJ, I was able to see some footage on Scottie Pippen a little while back, and he went through a lot for people to understand. He when he came in, he signed a long contract. But when he went to get his contract, changed to get more money, I mean, they wasn't on his side. A lot of people, Mike wasn't on his side. So Scottie has a legitimate beef in what he has going on. Is the timing, man, the timing ain't never right. We see that people can, 10 decades ago and come up and bring some issues that's really relevant today. So we don't know what the timing is, but he definitely has a legitimate beef, and he can't hurt nobody but himself. So we all have some things that we have to face, whether it be in the past or in the present. It's just totally if we want to, speak out on it or not speak out on it. So whatever Scottie has going on, I just pray with him and be with him, and whatever God, he has to be strengthened in. We pray that God, can give him the strength and the courage to be able to talk about anything that need to be placed on the table, Brother AJ. And Paul George, greatest. What's up with you, man? Give our brother some props. Me and you, AJ, we talked about Paul George because we know the level of play that Paul George had. And so right now, Paul George has stepped up and helped his team, in which I knew that he could do. That's the only thing I asked. Whether he win the series or not, he's done what I wanted him to do. He's proven himself. And now that's, AJ, that's the Paul George that I know. Whether he lose the series or not, he stepped up. Kawhi went down. But he stepped up like a champion and helped the team.
That's the part, and I appreciate you, Ferdinand, Call of the Year 2017 for bringing that out. Take Paul George off that team right now and fill in the blank. Go ahead and put in, I don't know, James Harden. They ain't in the conference finals. I mean, go ahead and put in, I'm going to say it, Dame Lillard. Dame ain't in the conference finals. Like him or not, Paul George has done enough on that team to get them where they are without Kawhi Leonard, without the team's best player. Has he had some bad games? Yeah. But has he had some monster games that kept them in the position to still be there and still have a chance for the NBA final? James Harden ain't. James, I'm sorry, he's not. Jason Tatum, no, not him. I mean, you go all up and down the coast, east, west, north, and south, and everything in between. And if you slide those players in, there's no guarantee that they'll be right where they are without Kawhi Leonard.
Absolutely. So we want the greatest to know that, look, two of our guys, AJ, when it comes to Chris Paul or Paul George, they've got their teams where no other players have gotten their team. So, man, I applaud both of those guys for being a leader and helping their teams get where they are, man. That's a great accomplishment, AJ. And I don't care what nobody says, man. And I'll go to my team and I'll get off quick. When it comes to Pittsburgh, as long as Mike Tomlin is on the team as a coach, they're going to be in the thick of things. What has happened, and I still fault Mike because you have to fault him at some point, is not being able to fix a problem that's fixable. When you have a fixable problem, you got a bunch of men with a bunch of testosterone, AJ. So you're going to have issues. And so the biggest problem that Pittsburgh had was letting Le'Veon Bell go. And they struggled ever since.
Yeah.
Now, Big Ben, you look at Big Ben is still in the top 5, AJ, as far as quarterbacks in the NFL is concerned.
Ferdinand, go take your medicine. Go take
your
medicine, Ferdinand.
Hey, I can talk about my team.
Okay, my bad. You right. You're so right.
Yeah, I can talk about my team.
Ferdinand, you're right. Go ahead. My bad. Let me hush. Go ahead.
Okay, let me take you back to this. 12-4. That's not decent.
Yeah, that was good.
Come on, somebody. Come on, fella.
Yes,
come on,
sir.
come on.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. So, yeah. Thing about it is, now look, in the event that he lose a playoff game this year, he terminated immediately.
Yeah, you're right.
He need to leave. He need to go right where Drew Brees has went.
You're right.
Okay?
You're right.
And so, therefore, no. Ben has an arm.
Yeah.
Ben still can get it, but you have to have a running game. That's why Pittsburgh lost.
Yeah, I will give you that. I will give you that. I stand corrected. You're right. That running game has never been the same without Le'Veon Bell. And I'm not talking stats. Sometimes people get more caught up in the stats. Oh, well, this guy Connor had, these many rushes and Le'Veon held them in. I'm talking about Le'Veon Bell did certain things in situations that kept the chains moving, that allowed Big Ben to be Big Ben, allowed Juju to be Juju, allowed Brown to be Brown. He did some things that allowed those things to happen, and they haven't been the same with that. And then that offensive line, same thing.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying, AJ. I'm just trying to give it like I know it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I stand
corrected. Le'Veon made Ben great.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So sometimes when you take your spade out, Doc, you struggle. And Big Ben is not. He's not the face of Pittsburgh.
Right.
It's a 1-2 punch, and you took your 1-2 punch out, Le'Veon. You got a top receiver as a running. But come on, AJ.
Yeah. You're right.
I'll say this. I'll say this, and I'm gone. When it comes to Chauncey and Jason Kidd.
Wait a minute. Hold that thought. You're not going to be able to get it in 10 seconds. Stay right there. Let me hit this real quick. I'll be right back with Ferdinand right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. It's Talk Your Team Tuesday. And Ferdinand say, hey, I came to talk my team.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110. Guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify.
800-298-0139. 800-298-0139. 800-298-0139. That's 800-298-0139.
Hello, this is Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President of the Communication Workers of America, District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hour.
Hello, this is Trey Daniels from the Daniels Group. Yes, Claude, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, week, and month. Interviews will be with pastors, community leaders, elected officials, and political operatives. You know, Claude, a part of our responsibility is informing the citizenry and give them power to the people.
That's right, Trey. We're asking that you listen in on 1140 AM, 92.3, or streaming on KYOKradio.org, Thursdays at 10 a.m.
Got to give the people, give people what they want.
This is Lakeisha, and you're listening to The Lunch Break on KYOK.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. All new 92.3 FM and streaming live, KYOKradio.org. Let me get Ferdinand back on. Ferdinand, go ahead and finish that thought about Chauncey and Jason Kidd.
When it comes to us, AJ, we beat down to a pulp. They went through the system, and not only going through the system, Chauncey came out, was working with ESPN. Jason Kidd was already a coach in the NBA, and he went out. And so, why is it okay when they make mistakes, AJ, and they're reinstated? They're not ridiculed, but you want to stop Chauncey from being a coach where we need to be. You want to stop Jason Kidd from being a coach where our face need to be. The opportunity is there, so we're given the opportunity. But look how we're beating our people down. When I go back to my team, when Big Ben, had the rape charges on him. When he went through his stuff, he's still in. Nobody's talking about him. Nobody didn't want him to come back, stop being a quarterback. No. So what's the difference? We all fall short. I applaud the NBA for giving Chauncey a chance. I applaud NBA for giving Jason Kidd another chance. We all fall short. We got to forgive people. if the Father, again, I'm done, if he was to counsel us from one mistake, we would never have a second chance. Never. So quit beating other people down, because he requires us to forgive. Forgiveness, one of them, is the keys to the kingdom. And if we can't forgive those brothers from what they did and going on with their life, we can't be forgiven. I'm gone. God bless you.
Appreciate you, Ferdinand. Appreciate you. I know that folks are upset with me and us about this conversation because, you know, domestic violence is just that. It's domestic violence, and it is bad. It is not good under any circumstances whatsoever, and I'm not condoning it. Sexual assault, I am not condoning it. Every situation of it is bad. I want the fullest extent of the law against the perpetrator in every case. What I'm struggling with is how, and I'm trying to be very careful with my words, because just as I said with Scotty, everybody has a right to say what they feel what they say, and all of that. But I know I've got folks in this business that they feel like they shouldn't have to go down there and cover Jason Kidd in Dallas or Chauncey Billups in Portland. But yet they'll still go cover the New England Patriots with Robert Kraft. Oh, but AJ, that wasn't, it was illegal. There's a young lady that very well, possibly her and others, were being forced to work in that industry to pay for their freedom and their transportation over here to the United States. I'm sorry, that's called sex trafficking. And whether he was involved in the trafficking as a trafficker, he went down there and he paid his money in an industry that was clearly involved in some type of sex trafficking. If it wasn't sex trafficking, it was definitely exploitation of women. But to my knowledge, the New England Patriots haven't lost one dime in revenue. Their season tickets sales have not dropped one bit. I haven't seen any protests out in front of the New England Patriots organization. But Chauncey and Jason, I haven't heard one person talking about how drugs and opioids have ravaged our societies and cost us millions and billions of dollars say, I'm not going to go up and cover the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not going to be a part of covering that organization because their owner got caught with a bunch of drugs, not a few, but a bunch of drugs and money. And under any other circumstance, somebody other than that owner with that amount of drugs and that amount of money would have been charged and prosecuted for possession and the intent to distribute. Now, I know the owner got suspended for a period of time. What was Robert Kraft's punishment again? I don't hear people wanting to protest the NFL because they don't punish lawbreakers. I hear them want to punish the NFL because they're allowing people to be open about their distaste of social injustice and racism and financial and residential inequalities, police brutality. That's what people want to protest the NFL about. Not when you don't punish lawbreakers, not when you have addicted, possibly drug dealing owners. Not then. When several people in the Phoenix, Arizona organization were drinking and driving and doing all those different things, where was the outcry then from Mothers Against Drunk Driving and all the other folks that have experienced heartbreak and anguish from the effects of drunk driving? Where was that then? But Chauncey and Jason. I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. And again, I'll probably lose friends and colleagues and followers and listeners. It's okay. I just don't feel sometimes we are the best judges of other people's characters because we don't do it fairly. We don't do it evenly. I'm not talking about race. I promise you I'm not talking about race. Where's the outcry from Luke Walton? Where people still go down there and cover Sacramento. Where's the outcry there? Oh, but AJ, he wasn't convicted. Okay. All right. Big Ben wasn't convicted. Where's the outcry? People still cover Pittsburgh. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just saying. We'll be right back right after this on the lunch break.
Remember in the beginning, when you first started to build a life for you and your family, you never imagined it would come to this. Instead of living your dreams, you're living with debt. In fact, it's smothering you. Now there's a way you can take back control with one simple call. If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you qualify to receive a free, no-obligation consultation on how to get rid of that debt for good. Call the Debt Helpline now. We work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. One simple call is all it takes to get the ball rolling to a debt-free life. Stop living with debt and start living your dreams. Call the Debt Helpline now.
800-958-2156. 800-958-2156. 800-958-2156. That's 800-958-2156.
Tune in to Table Talk with your boy, TD Blackshear, every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. on the legendary KYOK 1140 a.m. and 92.3 FM. See you there.
In need of tires? Check out OMG Tire Services and more. New and used tires, all the name brands you desire, located at 3126 Tidwell between 59 North and Jensen. Give them a call at 832-767-3211. Top-notch service from beginning to end. When you're done, get your car hand-washed inside and out at OMG Tire Services and more. Located at 3126 Tidwell between 59 North and Jensen. Call 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211. Conveniently located on the north side.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Two radio stations in one.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
This is Nick from Acres Home. Checking out my boy AJ right here on KYOK 1140.
Come on, Nick from Acres Homes. You better come on through. Yeah, man. The fofo. All right, y'all. Listen, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is our Talk Your Team Tuesday, and I got a lot of folks that have sent messages in about their respective teams. I'm going to get to them in a second. I got somebody who's going to call me and talk some stuff. I don't know if they're going to talk a team, but I know they're going to talk some stuff. While I'm doing that, though, let me get to these birthdays real quick. Jennifer Tillery, one of the best people in the world, celebrating a birthday today on June 29th. Tony Mack, happy birthday. Annette Smith celebrating her birthday as well. Annette says, I'm 52 and looking good. I like that. Lorraine Ricks celebrating her birthday with Latina Jaliba, celebrating with Tammy Crawford Chocolosa. Tammy Crawford Chocolosa celebrating her birthday as well. And then we also have Desiree Riggins, Carmen Drakes, and Nikki Yarbrough all celebrating a birthday with none other than my godmother, like no other, Mitty Davis, celebrating her birthday. I got to give her love. And without further ado, before I go to the phone lines, you know what I got to do. Here it is.
Oh, go shawty, it's your birthday. Ooh, it's your birthday. Go shawty, it's your birthday. Today's your day. Happy birthday to you.
All right. Got to say happy birthday again to all those good folks. Let me go to the phone line real quick, see what this is about right here. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who this?
AJ, it's Todd.
What's going on, dog? What's going on, man? What's going on, Todd? How you feel, as greatest would say?
Man, AJ put me on hold 3 times.
Well, you know, hold on, man. I ain't trying to tell all our business up here, but, you know, we ain't got call ID, so I ain't know it was you. If I had, brother, I would have moved you to the front of the line, man. I would have moved you to the front of the line.
I want to talk about the Scottie Pippen thing, right?
Okay, let's get it.
This is something I've thought for years on different topics, right?
Yeah.
So I think in society, whether we're talking race, politics, religion, this is something I don't do anymore. Like, I think too many times we try to talk people out of what their opinion is, right?
Yeah.
So with Scottie Pippen, that's his truth.
Yeah.
That we didn't walk the steps he walked in around Phil. His relationship with Phil was, you know, a unique experience. It's an individual experience. My relationship with you, AJ, right?
Right.
May be different than Willie's or Ferdinand or anybody else that calls into the show, right?
Yep.
So if, you know, I can't speak to their relationship with you just like they can't speak to mine, right?
Yeah.
So when Scottie Pippen says, hey, when Dan Patrick said, hey, are you calling Phil Jackson a racist? He said, oh, yeah, that's Scottie's truth. That's his. And as far as the timing of it, you know, sometimes in life, as you have, let me give an example. And I've shared stuff with you about my dad, right?
Yeah.
For a long time, it took me over 20, I'll be 44 in January, right? And I know when you see pictures of me online, you think I'm about to try out for the Cowboys in the fall. But
yeah, of course.
That's another conversation for another day. But it took me over almost 40, I realized this last year that my dad was only interested in me when he was able to coach me. He wasn't interested in being a father, right?
Yeah.
And it took me forever to realize that. It took a whole lot of time. So maybe at that space and time, maybe of what Scottie had available to him of just knowledge, wisdom, of really what racism was as far as from a coach, maybe at the time he didn't see it that way. Or maybe he did and no one ever asked the question, right, like Dan Patrick did. But I don't think there's ever a time frame that something should be said or shouldn't have been said. You know what I mean? I think Scottie Pippen genuinely feels that way, whether he's got a book deal or a new drink coming out or whatever. I think he genuinely feels that way.
Man, there's some things that we talk about in our culture that we say we're just going to take that to the grave. There have been times, and I'm saying this because you can relate with it, Todd, that people in our culture have raised other people's children as our own. And not only did we raise them as our own, but we told people that was our child. And that could have been our niece, that could have been our sister or brother, that could have been our neighbor's child. You know, because we didn't go through the proper protocol of adoption and all that. We didn't have to do that. That's our child. We're going to take care of them and we're going to raise, and we'll take that to the grave. And that's got some good parts to it and some bad parts to it. But my point in saying that is there are people that have experienced things in their respective professions where they were athletes on levels that we never thought, or no, let me say it right, that we ourselves would never get to. And they walk with the quote unquote greatest of the greatest. That doesn't mean that they didn't experience some stuff that if you looked at it objectively or you looked at it under today's lenses, you wouldn't say, well, that was racist right there. Or that was out of pocket right there. And I'm talking about the great of the great. And I'm sorry, I'm stepping on people's graves today. I'm talking about with the Dean Smiths. I'm talking about with the Woody Hayeses. I'm talking about with the Bo Schembechlers. I'm talking about with the Bear Bryants. I'm talking about with all of them. I'm talking about some of the greatest football coaches of all times. NFL, college, high school. There may have been some incidents that certain people experienced that they once said that was wrong right there. That was racist, but they never said a word, because they were going to take it to the grave. So it didn't affect their already rough challenge of getting where they were or getting beyond that after they left it. And I know there's some people in other cultures that call that victim mentality. Shut up. My experience is my experience. It doesn't make me a victim whenever I tell it. Stop telling us about your granddaddy that came over on the Mayflower with no money in his pocket and passed by. I'm putting different time frames together. Passed by Lady Liberty with no money in the pocket, and now he owns all the sandwich shops in Soho. If we can't tell our story, I don't want to hear your story either. If you can't hear my truth, I don't care about your truth. And that's Scottie Pippen's truth. Dwayne Brown was here, and he said, rest in power, Mr. Bob McNair said some things that were racist. And people are like, no, not Mr. McNair, not Mr. McNair, until he opened his own mouth and said, you can't have the inmates running the asylum, the prison.
Yeah.
People's experiences are their experiences. And if we can't express our own truths here, well, where are we supposed to express them at?
Now, I thought you touched on something else too that I thought was important too. So, if someone makes a racist comment 30 years ago, right?
Yep.
Let's say in the 1970s. Let's take me for example. Let's say I wrote a book in 1971, right? And let's say it was a book about basketball, right? So there's something I read on, you may have read these quotes about Phil Jackson where he made the quote that black guys play one-on-one basketball and white guys play team basketball.
Yep.
Did you read that?
Yep.
Let's say you read a book from me, 1971, right? You read it, you found out about the book. You've been knowing me for years. You didn't know about the book, right? You read that excerpt from the book, but then you fast forward to what you know about me now. So does something I wrote, over 40-something years ago, is that a racist comment or am I a racist? And how do you differentiate between the two?
Good question. I love that question because for me, now I'm a little different than you asked me the question, so I'm going to answer it based on me. That was a racist comment. That doesn't necessarily make you a racist, especially 40 years later.
And I agree with that. That's the way I look at it because so let's take Phil or whoever, right? Like we call it the cancel culture, right? I'd rather give an opportunity because you brought up something with Willie too. Because if you started getting in the scenario where you're not giving anybody second chances, right? Be very careful when that happens to you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I remember. Do you remember when Danny Ferry made those comments about Luol Deng?
Yep.
And I'm paraphrasing something about. He reminds me of a guy having an African store or something, selling stuff out of the back, right?
Yep.
And Stephen A. Smith actually came to Danny Ferry's expense to an extent, right?
Yep.
He's like, what Danny said was wrong, but I want to have some leeway here, if you will, because if this happens to a person of color, right?
Yep.
If we saying, hey, Danny got to go. Danny doesn't deserve a second chance. What happens when this happens to one of us?
Right.
And we've already set the precedent that, okay, this is how Danny Ferry got treated, and everybody else after that's got to be treated the same.
Yeah, I'll even go back. Jimmy the Greek made comments. Bob Greasy made comments. Some other people have made comments. And, again, those comments, unless they were frequent comments in their recent, conversations that are now being brought to light, that's different. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've said things that I regretted, that I wish I could take back. But I'm not Bob Greasy. I'm not Jimmy the Greek. I'm not, some of these Danny Ferry, these other people. I'm not on that level. So the consequences of it are lesser for me than they are for them. But it doesn't change the fact that I made comments that, man, I should have said that. Like that doesn't even, watch this, that doesn't even speak to who I am. I got caught up in the moment and said it. But now if that's my constant conversation, if that's as soon as I get away from you, Todd, I'm like white people this, white people that, white people the other, I got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and I'm trying not to make this just about race because it's about so much more than just race. So much more than just that.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would rather see. Man, it's just such a delicate. It's almost like if you know, to some people, if you give a second chance, some people are going to view that you're condoning it. You know what I mean? And but then on the flip side of what Stephen A. Smith said, if you have a zero tolerance policy, and don't get me wrong, there are certain comments that probably you should have zero tolerance for, right?
I agree. I can agree with that. I think here's my thing for me. A person has a right to their truth. And whoever employs them, sponsors them, what have you, has a right to their decisions based on what that person said. I don't agree with everything people say, but in this country, I got to be all right with their right to say it. Now we know who you are. Now we know what you're about. Now we know what you believe or what you think. And in many cases, we know what you've experienced. But if I start being the police of that, then like Stephen A. Smith says, I gotta police it when somebody that looks like me says it, or somebody that looks like me does it, or what have you. I'm not saying Wild Wild West, just do what you want to do and nothing has any consequence. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is when we start picking and choosing how it's defended, how it's meted out, how it's supported, how it's adjudicated, I don't know. I say again, the NFL is not good at domestic violence stuff. That's not their profession. They need to outsource that to people who are. It's the same thing with our industry. Just because we can get a lot of followers, just because we can pontificate about sports like nobody else can, does not make us an expert on other people's situations, circumstances, or conditions.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let me overkill this dead horse. When Aaron Hernandez committed suicide, I can't tell you how hard it was to listen to sports talk radio, because all of a sudden everyone was an expert on suicide. You know, the coward's way out, the this, that, the other. And again, the one thing that none of those people had been successful at is suicide. Ain't not one of you with my country self and Kev the producer. Yes, I'm trying to sound the way I'm sounding. Ain't now one of y'all ever successfully committed suicide. So therefore, you don't know completely, totally, without question, what that young man was thinking. You don't. And to people out there like myself who struggle with suicidal thoughts, who has struggled with, attempting suicide and watch us hoping that I would make it and hoping that I wouldn't. It's just dangerous to have people try to throw that out as if they are an expert at it, where there are people out here that are just struggling to keep it together. Scott Van Pelt likes to say stuff is reckless, but he says reckless stuff all the time. I'm getting them all today. I'm calling names today. Go ahead.
So I don't know the I think, man, it's a deep topic because it's not so let's talk about the Jason Kidd hire, right?
Yeah.
Because I think there's layers to that too that could be problematic, not for Jason Kidd, but Mark Cuban, right? So Mark Cuban had sexual assault run rampant, right? Or sexual harassment. Maybe an assault too. Sexual harassment run rampant in his office, right? Okay, so you got that. He gets up on the jump with Rachel Nichols. He's teary-eyed. Hey, I don't condone this. Not going to happen again, right? Okay, then you got Jason Kidd. I do believe in second chances. Whatever has happened in the past was a long time ago. Done a good job with the Lakers. He's had a good couple. He's had a couple coaching jobs. Didn't work out great. I thought the Mavs could have hired maybe somebody, maybe on paper a little bit better. But I think it's more problematic for Mark Cuban than it is for Jason Kidd to hire. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because Mark Cuban, if you're saying after what happened in your office, I do not tolerate any of this, right? And then you bring in Jason Kidd. So I'm not going at Jason Kidd, right?
Yeah, I got you.
So if Jason Kidd would have got another job, let's say in Portland, I don't think that's as problematic because they didn't have the situation in Portland as they did in Dallas.
You bring up a valid point. It's just like if Dan Snyder had went out and hired a Jason Kidd or a Chauncey Billups. Dan Snyder just hired his wife, as a co-owner, if there's such a thing. But the environment, the situation, all that matters. I totally agree with that. That puts a different light on things. And like you said, the focus or the emphasis is on Mark Cuban more so than Jason Kidd, who, to our knowledge, hadn't had any problems since those incidents. Todd, stay right there. We'll take a quick break right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
Do you have high blood pressure or diabetes? Are you over the age of 65 and covered by Medicare? Then pay close attention to this message. Medicare has introduced some new benefits to help consumers during these cautious COVID-19 times. They realize many of you don't want to leave your home to visit a doctor. So now you can get a remote patient monitoring device shipped to your home at little or no cost to you. Now your doctor can identify your problems in real time, which could potentially save your life. Victory Medical can easily ship this monitoring device directly to your home at little or no cost to you. If you have high blood pressure or diabetes and you're covered by Medicare, make this free call right now to see if you qualify for a new remote patient monitoring device. Call now.
800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. That's 800-213-9527.
Do you have a home that you don't want anymore? We can buy it from you within 24 hours. Any home, size, or condition. For over 20 years, we've been buying homes for cash and helping homeowners sell their homes immediately with no listings or strangers walking through your home. Are you moving? Did you lose your job? Going through a divorce? Whatever the reason, if you're in a bind and you know that you need to sell your house fast, call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. We'll make you a serious cash offer to buy your home in 24 hours and let you walk away from it. No listing, no waiting. Sell any home, any size, any condition now. Call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. Make this free call now.
800-306-1760. 800-306-1760. 800-306-1760. That's 800-306-1760.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Todd Delaney, and right now you're listening to the Lunch Break Sports Talk Show with AJ.
All right, appreciate you, Todd Delaney. Of course, he's going to be up for a whole lot in the upcoming Stella Awards. Got a shout out to the Not So Christian in Me crew. Man, the way they handled the BET Awards, man, excellent coverage. Excellent coverage. Check them out on this coming Saturday from 1 to 2, Not So Christian in Me show. Larry Scott, Denise Scott, Natasha Marie, and others. I'm telling you, man, they're a whole nother level of good. All right, let me come back to it. Todd, sorry to keep you holding, brother. Go ahead and finish that point you were making.
Yeah, so, I think the issue more with the Jason Kidd hire, it's more about Mark Cuban. It's not Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd didn't hire himself. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I do believe in the redemption. I mean, it's such a difficult topic because when you give the second chance on bringing someone in that's made racist comments, right?
Yep.
Or abuse women,
yep,
you're going to piss off a huge group of people.
You're going to.
And that's why really my issue is not with Jason Kidd. I don't have an issue with him getting another head coaching job. My issue is with Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, you look like a hypocrite. You look like, you said one thing and then you had Rick Carlisle walk out the door, which was a bad look, right? Think how bad a look this is. Rick Carlisle said, I'm just going by his actions. I don't want to be here. I want to leave so much. I'm willing to leave a franchise player, right?
Yep.
You don't see that. I mean, he walked away from Luka. How many coaches would die to be able to coach? Or look at the jobs like, prior to Nate McMillan, what he has now. But Nate McMillan didn't get the head coaching job. He fell into it because the other guy didn't work out.
Right.
But to me, it was damage control. It was like, okay, I'm in trouble. Rick Carlisle just left. What can I do? Okay, let me bring back a former Mav that a lot of people love. And, I don't know. I mean,
well, Todd, let's take it. Let's take a little further. Let's go there. Can we go there? Sure. Why are we coming for Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups, and we didn't come for Marv Albert?
That's a great question. So let me give you an answer, but my answer is not condoning what Marv did. Right.
All right.
Different climates now, right?
Okay, that's fair.
When Marv did what he did, how long ago was that? Was that in the I don't even know. When was that? Late 90s?
Keep talking. I'm looking it up. Keep talking.
Okay. So I think kind of like the Me Too movement, we're just in a different climate on when people are saying racially insensitive stuff now, people are going to hold people accountable. If you sexually assaulted, harassed somebody, people want to be held, people on the outside want to see that they're being held accountable. Back then, for some reason, we were glossing over that stuff.
So the incident took place February 12, 1997.
So let's fast forward. Let's say Marv Albert did that today. Okay?
Yep.
Marv would be done.
Yep.
So, in my opinion.
Okay, but here, and I agree. We're just talking. But we know that Marv did it. We know. It's not like we're wondering. It's not like it was kind of gray back then. We know he did it. Today we know that. And Marv's about to retire, and everybody's like, oh, Marv's great as this, Marv's great as that, Marv's this, that, and the other. Love us some Marv Albert. Chauncey Billups, Jason Kidd, one was 2000. I think the other one was 2001. I'm sorry, 2010 or something like that. So we're 20 years for one, 10 years for the other, but yet we still pulling it into the current environment. We're still pulling it into the Me Too movement. We're still moving it into the I can't condone that. I can't go down there and do my job with them, but we're still going down there and covering the New England Patriots. We're still covering the Washington football team. We're still covering these other places where these kind of things, we know they happened, but we can't do Jason and Chauncey because, and again, I'm not making it about race. I promise you. I'm not slick trying to make it about race. I'm not I'm making it about the judgment of this person doesn't deserve to have a job as the face of a franchise, but yet these other people, is it because they own the franchises? I don't get the difference.
And AJ, I wish we had an example of a coach, another coach out there that was getting a job that we could reference it to. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're bringing up Chauncey, and I think the digging into the past so much deeper now is to the climate we're in now, right?
Yeah.
So if Chauncey and Jason were trying to get jobs in 1997 versus now, these things, in my opinion, and let's say those incidences would have happened in 1987, right?
Yeah.
They might not even be discussed,
Yeah.
But of kind of where we are now. So I wish there was I hate to say it because I want to be victimized, but I wish there was another white coach as an example, right?
Well, I can't go to, boy, I'm sure for the stress this right here. I can't go to sexual assault or domestic abuse, but there's a whole different stream of the quality of coach that PJ Carlesimo was.
Yeah.
And what actually led up to him getting choked the heck out by you know who.
Yeah.
And but see, again, nobody ever covered the different stream, and it's been verified by a number of sources. The way that PJ Carlesimo was talking to certain players and addressing certain players and treating certain players to the point where he kept going after one that way, and that one decided, You ain't gonna talk to me like that. But
Okay.
yet we still have PJ Carlissimo on broadcast. We still have him on networks. He's still the expert, if you will. I'm gonna leave with one more. Why are we listening to Brett Favre again? Why are his comments mattering? What about the cases associated with Brett Favre that got handled out of court?
So, AJ, I do have an NBA coach for you, a white coach. Remember the allegations that came out of Luke Walton?
Luke Walton, yeah.
Oh, I just thought of that as you were talking, right? That wasn't too long ago. That was what, right when he got hired?
In Sacramento.
Yeah. And that young lady's story, like I said, alleged, but her story was pretty damning, right? It was graphic. And basically it was allegations no different than the Chauncey Billups. Now, granted, I have not looked into the Chauncey Billups, so I'm going to say situation, right? I don't know all the details of it. I just know a couple things I've read. I read a lot on the Luke Walton situation of what her story was because that was more recent, right? But we saw a scenario with Luke Walton. The Kings didn't fire Luke Walton, right?
Right.
They moved on, and he's still the coach. So, do I think was there a huge outcry for Luke Walton? I don't remember that. I knew about it. You knew about it because we follow sports, right? But I don't remember. I don't remember people being as up in arms. I mean, there was a lot of people disturbed by it, but I don't think there was there wasn't the same outcry that I'm seeing, the pushback as I'm seeing on the Blazers organization right now.
Yeah. Well, it was bad. And Sacramento made the decision based on whatever information they had or chose to believe to go ahead and hire him. And folks are still covering Sacramento. Yeah, Sacramento's not the same market as LA or Boston or New York or, other teams like that. But, again, I don't hear the Sacramento Kings crying broke. I don't hear the New England Patriots are trying to decide what they're going to do because folks have decided to stop supporting them because of Robert Kraft or, Jim Irsay or Jim Nance or, others. I mean, gosh, what's the golfer Daly? How many different chances has he gotten? And people still support him when he goes out and plays.
I mean, so the real question is do these professional teams really do care? Do they care about that? Like, let me give an example. There's a gazillion coaches the Mavs or Blazers could have hired, right? You and I have been talking about Sam Cassell, Darvin Ham, Juwan Howard, Patrick Ewing for years, right? So the Blazers were in need of a coach, right?
Yep.
And I'm not saying Chauncey's not deserving. I think, deserving is a very vague term. It's always in the eye of the person that can give you the job, right? So, it's like the word qualified. Well, what's your definition of qualified? You know what I mean? Everyone's could be different. But the Blazers easily could have said, you know what? We like Chauncey a lot. Man, we know if we hire him, we're going to get this with it, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we just go hire Sam Cassell? He's been an assistant 5 times longer, right? Doesn't have this what I'm going to call it baggage. I mean, we're going to get the pushback from social media. Why not just hire Sam Cassell? That's the part I don't understand with these hires is, do these teams really care about setting an example of, hey, we're not going to tolerate this stuff? When you could have hired a Darvin Ham, when you could have hired, there's a laundry list of coaches that I could, Adrian Griffin is another one that's on Nick Nurse's staff, right?
Right.
So why not just go that route? But no, we don't. We want to hire the name that we can market to our fans. Chauncey Billups is a big name, right?
Right.
NBA champion. Jason Kidd, Hall of Famer, right? So to me, these NBA teams, the professional teams, they can miss me with the we care and these posts because your actions to me will always speak louder than words. So if you truly want to have a zero tolerance policy, is like, did the Blazers come out, hey, we don't condone domestic violence, sexual assault, or any abuse against women? Okay. Then if you're taking that hard stand, then you really can't hire anybody that has that background, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about this before, Todd. Billionaire owners don't want to be told what to do. Billionaire owners don't want to be told what to do. And that's what they do. They do what they want to do.
And so I'll give you another name that I don't know if Penny Hardaway will get the Magic job, right? But he may. But that's another job that you look at, and I'd say, okay, Chauncey, Penny, J. Kidd, these are names. They're just it's like I'm asking, okay, are you trying to find the most qualified candidate or the most marketable candidate?
Willie just chimed in. Willie said Dame wanted Chauncey once Kidd stepped away. So, and again, Dame has spoken out that he was, like 9 years old or something when these things all happen. I get that. And again, I'm not blaming Dame. He didn't hire the man. The owner did. So I just, it's a topic we can go around and around. I got to get ready to go, Todd, because our time is running out. But do me a favor, hang in there. My producer kind of likes you. He's like, so we're going to make Todd Call of the Year for 2021. I said, not yet. Todd get a little flaky. He got to go in the witness protection program. He'd be out there on them track trying to, live his glory days out. So other people are calling your name, Todd. Other people are calling your name.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you, AJ.
Do me a favor, man. Tell the kiddos Uncle AJ said hey.
They're killing it in that swimming.
I know they are. All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man. Todd Malcolm, good dude. Listen, I got to get ready to go. Sybil Wilkes up next with What You Need to Know. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you. There's nothing you can do about it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
It's Sybil Wilkes with What You Need to Know. Nearly 3 years before an oceanfront building collapsed near Miami, an engineering firm estimated that major repairs the building needed would cost more than $9 million. The email from the firm was among a series of documents released by the city of Surfside as rescue efforts continue at the site of the collapsed building. More than 150 people remain unaccounted for and at least 10 people killed in the collapse. Health officials say the Delta COVID variant, believed to be more transmissible and dangerous than other strains, is likely to break out in some U.S. communities. Those communities will be the ones with low vaccination rates and low rates of prior infection. 46.1% of the total U.S. population has been vaccinated against COVID-19. Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Wyoming are among the states with the lowest vaccination rates. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybilWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe.
All right, y'all. Again, appreciate y'all. Thanks for bearing with me while we talk through some very tough topics. And that's what we do here on the lunch break. So I hope I didn't offend anybody. If I did, listen, charge it to my head, not my heart. As I said before, domestic assault and sexual abuse, wrong on every level, every time out. No exceptions. None whatsoever, against men and women, against women and men, definitely against children and the elderly. So I want to be fair on that, and I want to be square on that. There are other issues and other parts of topics that are fair game, and that's all I'm trying to bring out on the show. So again, if I've offended somebody, if somebody no longer wants to follow me or rock with me or what have you, my prayers to you as you go where you go. But again, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. Y'all take care. I'm not your enemy.